for today. Now we're starting to see that here as well. So another tornado warning there now until 4:45 there for DeWitt, Logan, and Macon counties. That is just to the north and east of Latham there. So pretty interesting to see all these storms now finally started to do this, and close to sunset too. We figured that it was going to happen sometime before sunset, and boy howdy, they are starting to do that as well right now. We've got those storms down at the south too that we're watching, closer to Edinburgh and Kincaid, not too far from Taylorville, but the main focus right now is still that one just to the north and west of Decatur there near Austin and Latham, for that tornado warning that's still in effect until 4:45 for DeWitt, Logan, and Macon County. Again, we've watched this storm already produce a few funnels. We had them on air already, and so we're still keeping an eye on these storms as we're progressing through the afternoon and evening hours. Kevin?
Okay, so I've got our camera pulled up here from Decatur. Again, we're looking now north and west. There's that funnel again that is kind of showing up that Jacob is on, and we're seeing it there show up on our camera. It is very small, but there is some rotation with that. That obviously is showing up, and so let's go from that shot over to Jacob's shot here right now. If we can, we'll go back over to Jacob's shot. He's looking at it again right there, kind of on the center right part of your screen, getting ready to go behind some of those trees there. But it's a funnel that continues to kind of dip down. It's there for a moment, and then it kind of goes back up. And so we hope that it doesn't reach the ground again. We have not heard reports of any damage, but there continues to be a clear sign of some rotation, and that funnel kind of coming up and down as this now travels to the north and east. It is located now northwest of Warrensburg. Warrensburg, you're in the clear from this storm itself, just rolling through Latham now and going to be heading between Maroa and Kinney. So now you're going to be looking at portions of DeWitt County that are now under this tornado warning, as this storm has produced multiple funnels already, and can go from not being on the ground to being on the ground pretty quick. We'll come back over to Max 2 with our view from our weather camera indicator. This is our camera shot here that we've got, and you can again it's going to be right behind the tower there that's located. That's where the funnel is kind of passing behind right now. Let's see if I can zoom in even more on this and just kind of see it. Again, it's kind of moving across. You've got what we call some scud, some lowerings there, but that's your funnel that Jacob has kind of been watching and has been on here over the last 20 minutes or so, and why the tornado warning is still in effect. You're looking at that live view right now from our camera in Decatur as we look to the north and west. It's going to be northwest of Warrensburg right now, and just passing through the Latham area is where that potential tornado is. We'll just kind of zoom it out because you can see we had to zoom way in here to kind of look at that storm. Just look how far out we are, but our camera can zoom in on this, and it's looking like trying to find a needle in the haystack there sometimes, but we can get right in on that with the zoom on our camera. So we're just kind of watching that there. You're going to want to be taking shelter there in Maroa, in Kinney, anywhere between Maroa and Kinney right now, right on the county line. Is where you're going to want to be. There's probably a little bit of hail associated with this as well. We're seeing that north and east of Latham, and that storm is going to continue to move off to the north and east. The Weather Service again did report the confirmed tornado that was near Illiopolis earlier. That was the first confirmed report that we had, and what spawned the tornado warning actually getting issued. And so now we're just kind of watching. We're kind of seeing it lose itself just a little bit there in terms of the funnel that was once visible, but we're going to just kind of keep watching it very carefully, see what Jacob is seeing out there as well. I'm going to switch it back over to the radar view here real quick because I want you guys to kind of see where, again, this is located, who is under the gun. We have to zoom way in here on our storm. Extreme northwestern portions of Macon County right now. It's going to be northwest of Warrensburg, near the Austin area, and that's going to head right into southwestern portions of DeWitt County, west of Maroa, and then heading eventually crossing Highway 51 and towards Clinton. So it is looking
up and down on. There's definitely motion. I mean, I can see on the back side of the strait to my left what appears to be, air kind of rushing in behind this storm. Maybe briefly.
So again, Jacob shot out there. It's going to come in and out there. If you've ever been out into some of the rural portions there of Logan County and into Macon County there, you're going to hit some bad cell phone spots there. But we'll be checking back in with him. He's in a good spot there, visually able to kind of see everything. The storm's moving at a fairly slower speed compared to sometimes these things can be racing at 50 miles an hour. This one moving at a very reasonable 30 miles an hour to the north and east. So it's doing a couple things. It's allowing us to keep up with the storm, and it's allowing you to have a little bit extra time to take shelter because it is moving a little bit slower. But if you're in Maroa right now, you are under a tornado warning. Northern and northwestern portions of Macon County is where the highest concern is located. Going to be crossing over 51 here in the next 10 minutes or so. So if you are right there on the DeWitt and Macon County line, you definitely want to be taking shelter because this storm could produce another quick funnel here at any time. And that's kind of what we're concerned about because we've already had this thing
Still seeing some motion with it, nothing as organized at this point. There's definitely some scud clouds and some low rings here and there. It's still, I think, worth following and worth taking shelter, especially Moreau. I can see Moreau off in the distance over there. This is just a short distance away from there. So we're going to keep following this storm. I've been kind of keeping my eye on the storms behind me as well, seeing some perhaps weak rotation developing on those storms down to the south and west of here. So we'll be keeping our eye to the sky and the storm tracker, and we'll continue to follow the storm. And Kevin, so let me know if there's any directions you want me to head from here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're on that storm there. We'll keep you there for now. Those other storms we are going to be watching. You can see these other cells here. Of course, we're going to be losing daylight here in the next hour or so. So it'll be a little bit more difficult to see some of this. But we are watching these. This storm had some dime and nickel-sized hail on it near Pawnee a little bit earlier. Then we go back up here south and west of Mount Auburn. Little cell there that we're watching. But the one that is currently tornado warned is the one that is up here west of Maroa. So you should still be in your tornado safe spot if you are up in Maroa right now and west of Highway 51. on our storm there. That continues to travel to the north and east. Could have some hail in there as well. The Weather Service is talking about those other storms to the south and west. They have not issued any warnings, but something considered a special weather statement on that. Which basically is kind of the next the thing that they do before they put out a severe thunderstorm warning as a special weather statement. So it's kind of like, okay, it's a strong storm, not quite meeting the criteria yet. So we got to watch those, and they're starting to strengthen just a little bit more. So we're going to carefully be monitoring those as they come into western portions of Macon County. But right now, Maroa and eventually down the line, as that crosses Highway 51, getting up into the Clinton area here, it's going to be a close call there as far as that storm as it kind of rolls in. Let's see here, repositioning maybe some of our cameras and see if we can see anything else here from our Decatur camera. Not seeing a whole lot. Again, just in the past, 10 minutes, we've just had a little bit less of that organization of the storm. There was a clear funnel that we did have earlier that we were showing you live on TV when Jacob was out there in the storm tracker that was kind of halfway to the ground. And when we had that storm kind of coming through the area, but right now we're not seeing those same things. And it looked a little bit more ominous earlier, but it's trying to reorganize a little bit. That's something to keep an eye on here with this. This will go from not looking like anything too impressive to once again having some rotation. And there might still be something there north of Warrensburg that we're going to want to watch. Let me see if I can switch things over to our velocity mode. That's going to allow us to kind of look at some other aspects of this. And so it's in that area right there where we've got something. And I think Jacob there on his live stream is starting to see another little funnel possibly trying to develop. And so he is kind of traveling north towards that. And so right here, where you've got those little pixels that you see there, and on Jacob's stream, we can come over to my the quad wall over here, and we're gonna see this kind of coming right there north of Warrensburg. And so a little bit of a lowering right here, maybe another little funnel that's trying to develop right there. So there is what it looks like in terms of where the rotation is, north of Warrensburg. Let's go back to Jacob's shot on that again, because I want to show his live shot there, because he's coming right at this thing where there would be a potential lowering. We get around some of those trees, it's kind of coming there. So it is right there. You've got this little funnel that maybe is trying to get going once again, and that is the reason for the continued tornado warning. This is the wall cloud, okay? This is spinning here, okay? This is what is rotating and could potentially produce a tornado. Looks like in some rural areas there north of Warrensburg, as passing by some of those wind turbines in that area, and so that is the area of concern. Jacob, what are you seeing right there right now where you are? I know possibly your signal's kind of going in and out on us. If we're going to try to, I just want to hear from your perspective as you're kind of right there with that. It did look like that funnel was trying to form there, and again, I know your shot's going in and out. We'll try to talk to him there, and if he fades away, then we'll just keep rolling here. But again, I know you're kind of out there in the thick of it right now. Jacob, if you can hear us, kind of tell us what you're seeing there right now. Looks like some scud and some a little bit of rotation they're trying to develop. Go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin. First I want to say back behind the scenes, there's a photographer in the studio who's working on getting us access to that footage. So I know our assistant news director, Maggie, she's working on organizing that. So be ready to re-air that, what we saw earlier. I'll say this. This storm is interesting to me right now. And in fact, did I hear that correctly? We're on the video?
Earlier,
okay, so
let's make sure we clarify that. Yeah. Yeah, the shot that's on our screen right now.
When we were down towards Illiopolis and watching the storm here, I would say storm in particular, and I think the storms behind me, they're acting more like supercell thunderstorms here. I can see an overshooting top and an anvil. That's just a sign that there's a strong updraft with these storms. They're tapping into the instability here, and so not surprised with what we are dealing with here. It seems like maybe the cloud me here. I'm driving back to the east, snaking my way towards Maroa, but still there is motion in the clouds. I can see it wrapping around to the backside, so some rotation, not as evident as earlier with this particular storm. So now we're heading to the east. I don't have a good vantage point, so I'll get to the top of this hill and take a turn here real quick. But it does seem like perhaps the base of the clouds, the base of the storm, getting slightly higher. It's becoming slightly more elevated. Still, though, I can see evidence of at least some rotation here, and it might be a little bit before I can get that turn here, so we'll continue to watch. Warning, Jack and Chris.
Okay, Jacob, yeah, we're losing the signal there. We do have a new tornado warning I need to tell you guys about. This is a brand new one, and this is now southeastern Sangamon County into Christian County. Now, new tornado warning here, going to be west of the Edinburgh area and heading to the north and to the east. And so this is your rotation on it right there, okay? We got the new warning. It's going to be crossing over Highway 29 in the next few minutes as it goes to the north and east. Eventually, down the line, you're talking about Mount Auburn. You want to be on the lookout there, the Breckenridge area there along 29. And so that's your rotation on the storm, and something that we definitely are keeping an eye on now. So we've got two tornado warned storms, two different storms with tornado warnings associated with them. The one that has definitely been producing funnels is the one up now into northern portions of Macon County, heading into DeWitt County. But now this is a whole different warning for Christian and Sangamon County until 5 p.m. And so you can see that polygon area, that red box indicating who is under the gun. That's going to come south of Mechanicsburg and may eventually cross Highway 72. But right now, the rotation on that is located basically right there to the west of the Edinburgh area and going to be crossing over Highway 29 in the next few minutes, as the movement on this one is also to the north and east.
and may very well produce another tornado at any point here. And if it does, we'll be following it. I also want to mention, Kevin, I think we should treat every tornado warning at this point as if it's one like we saw in Maroa, like we brought you on TV, with that damage on the ground. As long as you're taking shelter in those tornado warned areas, I think you'll be okay. These are not these significant, huge type of tornadoes that you see on the Great Plains, but still they're damaging. If you're taking shelter, you're doing the right thing. That's the first lightning bolt I've seen in a while here, Kevin. I also wanted to mention, not a lot of lightning with these storms. As the sun goes down, we may very well have issues spotting much more. The lightning not being friendly to us now with this, so that's a concern for us here. I do know also news is on the way to Maroa, and I may at some point, Kevin, call the chase if it gets too dark and backtrack back to Maroa to meet up with them and report on the damage that's there. So that's what's going on here, and we'll continue to watch this. I still see motion in front of me. It's more scuddy and ragged in nature, but that does not mean this storm is done. It's pulsed up, pulsed down, pulsed up, and may continue to do that for a while longer, as long as we've got this instability in place, Kevin. Live northeast of Maroa, now moving into DeWitt County. We'll send it back to you, Kevin.
Yeah, there's still a little bit of instability that is left out there for these storms to kind of tap into, but that will wane pretty quickly after the sun sets here and you lose kind of that energy. But it is still of major concern. Multiple storms that we are tracking right now that have rotation on them. Again, this storm now that we have is coming into the Lane area along Highway 10 in Lane. That's the biggest concern that we've got, as this was the storm that we were just showing you 10-15 minutes ago that did produce a tornado. So that's Highway 10 there. As you come out of Clinton, again, Clinton, you're not under the gun for this, but between DeWitt and Weldon, you definitely need to be, because right here's some of that rotation, okay, and it's going to pass here somewhere between DeWitt and Weldon as it continues to go to the north and east. Here's Highway 48, so 48 and 10, of course, that is in Weldon. This is a large concern that you've got in this area, but let's go back to some of the other spots that we need you to obviously keep a close eye on, and that is going to be over towards the Mount Pulaski area, and that storm is literally right on top of Mount Pulaski right now, and still showing signs of rotation on it. And that's going to be continuing to head to the north and east. And so that may clip kind of western portions of DeWitt County. The one before that hit the southern portions of DeWitt County. So now, again, we are watching that storm. Here comes another one that's down into Christian County. That's going to be coming into the Mount Auburn area. So we've got Mount Auburn, Mount Pulaski, both areas seeing rotation close to those general areas. And all of these move to the northeast in a 25 to 30 mile per hour range at this point. And so what we're going to do is kind of back things up. Look at just the view here of how isolated these storms are. There's a lot of real estate not getting hit, Champaign and Danville and Effingham and whatnot. But you've got just these little isolated cells that have developed, have been showing decent signs of rotation on them and continue to do so here at this hour. You can see there's the storm now right along Highway 10, possibly some hail there near Lane, and that's looks like it's going to pass there between DeWitt and Weldon, and where that rotation is still located on our storm here. So you need to obviously be into that tornado safe spot here. And again, Jacob just said that we are sending a crew over towards Maroa, where we've had some damage out there. And Adam, these storms have a small window still left where we could still see some rotation on some of these.
Yeah, Kevin, Jacob's been talking about it, you've been talking about it, and I mentioned it before we even got on air, that really that there's a tight window here. We're going to lose a lot of that instability we've been talking about all day long as we go into sunset. So there's a small window for this happening, and it's happening right now as we're getting closer and closer to sunset. Sunset actually over with already, but we still have plenty of daylight here in central Illinois, and we're going to see less and less of that daylight. So that's really what's going to be one of the things that kind of qualms some of that the instability. But we're still watching these cells, because that doesn't mean that the storms are necessarily completely done. It just means that we're cutting off what's feeding them and continuing for them to grow in the environment. Again, this environment has been pretty wild here for today. We've not only seen 1 or 2 cells, we've seen 3 little cells that have already had tornado warnings on them, and 2 of them have already had produced funnel clouds and even tornadoes at times. We saw the one earlier in Maroa there that Jacob caught, and we've seen heard reports of other ones there towards Mount Pulaski as well. So we're going to continue to watch these storms as we go on. Again, this environment, once we saw the sunshine, really got amped up here for these storms. We had plenty of shear, and our source of lift is out towards the west. That cold front pushing in will bring colder temperatures here in the near future. So that's something we're going to keep an eye out for, is how this is going to play out as we go over into time. Again, a very tight window with the daylight here. We're still playing with that. It's really, really in the middle of winter. We have to watch out for the daylight here. We don't get as much as we would later in the season as we go into May, June, July. That's when we start seeing longer days. Therefore, we have longer events. But this one could start to taper off a little bit, or these storms could continue on a little bit longer. But again, the main feeding tube, the instability, that's going to be cut off here pretty soon as we get later and later into the evening hours. Kevin?
All right, thanks a lot, Adam. Appreciate it. So again, these storms still are showing signs of rotation on them, going here to the north and east. If you're in DeWitt right now, you need to be in your tornado safe spot because that storm still has some rotation on it, and it's something that we are still concerned that these storms could still kind of get going here. I'm going to put a little bit of a loop on all of these here. I'm just going to do this over the last kind of 15 minutes or so, or last, let's say half an hour. And you can see that storm lifting to the north and east. I know you may be saying, okay, hey, there's Farmer City down the line. Yeah, we're going to be watching there between DeWitt, Weldon, and Farmer City, all of those locations that are under the gun. Farmer City, you're technically not in that tornado warning, but we'll see what the Weather Service decides to do to carry that on. Let's look at these other storms because, again, so there is a new warning here that just got issued. So now this is going to be a new warning for western portions of Macon County as they're carrying on that storm there in Christian County. So we got another tornado warning in effect now coming out of Mount Auburn. This does include the southwest side of Decatur. The southwest side of Decatur, you are definitely under the gun with this, something to definitely monitor, keep a close eye on as that storm kind of comes crossing over Christian County and into western portions of Macon County. We're going to have to definitely see what we can see on that one. The problem that we are going to start to get is it's about to get dark. And when it gets dark, it makes it very difficult to see any kind of tornado at nighttime, especially when there's not a lot of lightning, which there actually has not been a ton of lightning with these storms. And so sometimes at night, you can have the clouds will kind of light up with lightning. You can kind of see some structure to the storm, but we don't have a lot of lightning here with these storms. And so that becomes a little bit of a concern of being able to kind of see some of the stuff here at nighttime. But there is our new tornado warning that is in effect for Christian and Macon County, and that goes until 5:30 p.m. That does include Harristown and Booty and the southwest side of Decatur. So we've got that storm. Let's see. This one doesn't look as impressive, the one coming out of Mount Pulaski. We'll see if the Weather Service continues on the tornado warning on that one or not. From what I can tell, probably not. So we're going to have two different storms that we're watching, and we're still seeing some signs of rotation on the storm that is now kind of west of Weldon. I'm going to switch back over to that storm. We're going to come off of that one. And so here's our storm that we showed you earlier. So now it's going to be coming right along Highway 10 between DeWitt and Weldon. Got to cross over Highway 48 before too long, kind of ride right there south of Highway 54 and move to the north and east. So Farmer City, just kind of be on the lookout here down the line with that storm. And then again, the newest one coming into Decatur. I've got a camera view from our Decatur camera as we're going to be looking into that storm. And as I mentioned, it's going to start to become a little bit more difficult to see anything. We're kind of looking into that storm that is well to the west of Decatur as of right now, but heading in that general direction here in the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. And you can see the dark area there, that is going to be your heavy rainfall. So we're always kind of looking into sometimes that rain-free base of the storm for sometimes a little funnel to develop. And so we're going to be watching that carefully as that storm comes into the west side of Macon County here in the next half an hour. Again, we are going to be coming up on the 5 o'clock hour here in just about 2.5 minutes or so as we continue to bring you Severe weather coverage, multiple storms with multiple tornado warnings that we've got right now. Still concern on our storm here that is going to be south of DeWitt. Again, we had some reports of damage that we showed you live on the air as this tornado did touch down near Maroa just, oh gosh, that would have been about 25 minutes ago or so. And that same storm is what you're looking at here. And I got to tell you, this one's trying to ramp up again. So we need to be watching things there west of Weldon. West of Weldon right now and right along Highway 10, ramping up just a little bit. I'm starting to get concerned again that this could start to put down another tornado between DeWitt and Weldon, right there along Highway 48. You're looking at it right there. It's literally kind of sitting right along 10. So many people have obviously been traveling between Clinton to Weldon there, and of course 10 that comes all the way eventually into Champaign. And so you know the stretch of road that is there. If you've drove it dozens and hundreds of times before you live in that area. If you're on 10 between Lane and Weldon, that's not a place where you want to be right now, nor is it a place you want to be there along Highway 48 between the DeWitt and Weldon area as well, because that storm is moving to the north into the east. So rotation is located right here and is going to be lifting to the northeast, and this is an area of concern. And I'm still seeing some of that rotation on this, so definitely that tornado warning is continuing down the line. Again, just want to give you guys kind of a heads up there. Farmer City, this is still quite a bit from you, but just kind of want to give you guys the heads up. And rural portions there of northwestern kind of portions there of even Piatt County there, you're going to want to be on the lookout for that as well. So that storm there that we're watching, the other one here coming into the west side of Macon County, where we've got tornado warnings that are still in effect there, Niantic to Harristown, and again, coming to the southwest side of town of Decatur, you need to be in your tornado safe spot as our tornado warning does continue there as well. So we are coming up here right at the top of the hour at 5 o'clock. We've been in now severe weather coverage here for about 90 minutes or so. The earlier storm that we were tracking was one that actually came here near Maroa. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up our radar here just a little bit and kind of show you what we were looking at on radar. That was the storm at about 4:27 p.m. Look at that storm really strengthened southwest of Maroa. And then you're going to notice right here, you see this little area right here, a little bit of an uptick in what we call the reflectivity. That is where the tornado started to form. And you're going to see here on the next frame of this, as this goes up, you're going to have that tornado that did form. And there it was on the northwest side of town there on the radar. Now we've got video from that tornado from earlier. If we can pull up the video from the tornado from earlier, as this kind of clipped northwestern portions of Macon County, there again is going to be the view that we had. This again was earlier. This was about 4:37 or so p.m. When Jacob was out there in the storm tracker, and you could see some of the damage there off in the distance. You can see some of the debris. Look at the debris that was being lofted into the air. You're seeing it there right in the center part. You see that? Some silos there. As you can see right there. Look at that. Some roofing being lifted up. That was earlier as the tornado did touch down there on the northwest side of Maroa. And that was, again, just about a half an hour, a little bit less than a half an hour ago. And that was right along and close to Highway 51 when that did occur, as it lifted to the north and to the east, creating that damage. So it kind of clipped there, right there. Of course, Highway 51 is right there on the west side of Maroa. And so this one went right across on 51, and there's damage there. Right now, I believe we have Jacob Dickey, who is got a live shot. He's right next to it. I know Jacob is, again, this is developing here as we speak. He's just getting back on scene. And Jacob, you're near some of that damage right now, and looks like they've got some equipment out there trying to remove some of that from Highway 50. Let's go ahead and take that full, guys, if we can. Let's take that full. And Jacob is there. Do we have Jacob Harris?
Hey, Kevin, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you there. So,
Kevin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What are you looking at there right now?
So Kevin, that damage you just showed from the farm is this farm on top of the hill. Lighting is getting a little bad, but you can see the corner of that shed there. It's been pretty much mangled up here, and there are some people investigating up there right now of what is going on. There's debris on that power line. That's on top of the hill. The tornado pushed these two big silos then right onto US 51, and that's where we're at here on the northwest side of Maroa. This is that subdivision then across the way here where folks are out and about investigating the damage here. You can see there's a fence that got hit. If this was about a half-mile further to the south and east, Kevin, this would have sliced right through the middle of town. Still, though, a couple of structures have been hit. It stayed just on the northwest side here. People still investigating what has happened. These are live images, raw footage that we're bringing to you right now here. Only on Channel 3 are we out here right now in the storm tracker showing you what has happened. I do want to mention, I talked to a firefighter, and he just real quickly said, yeah, it's an active scene. They don't have any information. US 51 at this time, traffic is halted as they move the debris. The fire department has it blocked there and is keeping an eye on it, of course. Traffic on the northbound lanes is getting by, but there is still plenty of debris on the roadways as we are sitting here now in Maroa live at 5 o'clock. So we're going to sneak through here in a minute, and then Kevin, when we get back, we're going to send it back to you. We're going to try and get to that farm that got hit and see what's going on up there as the damage continues to become finding out what's happened here in Maroa. Live in the Storm Tracker, I'm meteorologist Jacob Dickey. We'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Jacob. Great reporting out there, showing us the damage. Again, this was on the northwest side of Maroa. So I want to show you guys this again. So this is where the tornado was earlier. That's 4:37 p.m. We were right there on the storm, bringing you live coverage of it. It clipped there. And what Jacob was talking about, if this was a mile south and east, you're putting that right through the middle of Maroa. It clipped on the northwest side of town there and continued to travel off to the north and east. So now let's put this to where things are right now, because that storm is now all the way up near the Weldon area, okay? And the tornado warning continues between Fullerton and Weldon right now along Highway 58. That right there is where there's still some of that rotation. And we are definitely still concerned about this. So this storm is not done just yet. And so this is now going to be lifting to the north and to the east. And the potential is there for that to go towards Farmer City. So we're going to have to watch that very carefully as that storm continues to move in. Again, some grain bins there that were damaged right there along Highway 51 that Jacob was showing you there. That is going to be near Maroa. So I'm told that we've got some other video here from earlier we want to show you. And that video is going to be in Watch This. We've kind of highlighted that farm there that got hit. Watch the debris. See that debris that's getting lifted there into the air from that tornado? And so that, again, was what we were looking at earlier. Watch it again. You can see the rotation. You can see the debris that's right there on the ground. You don't see the clear funnel a lot of times, okay? You don't see that, but you get a tornado, you don't always have that tornado connected right to the base of the cloud, but that is obvious rotation that did reach the ground. That's the damage there, and you can start to see some of that kind of getting obscured a little bit at the dark area there, but that farm area, that farm right there did obviously get hit, and Jennifer Roscoe is here with us here as well, and Jennifer, these storms, yeah.
Can we go back to taking Jacob's camera?
Yeah, sure.
Right now, just because I have something to say about this. Marley Capper also headed out there. She talked to Justin Root, who's the administrative assistant to the coordinator for Macon County Emergency Services. He said, obviously, the main concern, northwestern side of Maroa, that silo down, which we're showing you, they're cleaning up there. No reports of any injuries as of yet. Strongly advising people to shelter in place, do not travel. That is what you've been telling people for 90 minutes now. The sheriff is out at the silo, has IDOT coming to clean it up. Emergency services are available. So if you need help, they are there to help you. This is what they train for. This is what they plan for. So it is all hands on deck right now around Maroa.
Yeah, you're seeing the crews that are out there again. Boy, if this again was another mile or two to the south and east, this would have ripped right through the middle of Maroa there.
Is there something in the tree there?
Yeah, so up in the tree there, you can see, I don't know if Jacob, you can zoom back in. There you go. Look up in the tree there. That's going to be some kind of roofing possibly from, again, I wasn't sure if it was a grain bin or a silo, one of the two, but that's obviously some kind of roofing material there that is up into the tree as he kind of pans around. You can see the path that took took and then crossed right there over 51. More of that sheet metal there that is alongside the highway where they've been out there, removing that debris off of the side of the road. Again, right there on the northwest side of town, Monroe, you can see, there it is right there. Large piece of metal there that was tossed from this tornado that moved through right there at around 4:37 p.m. earlier. You can see the sun is now setting. It's going to be a little bit more difficult, but out there into some of the fields, some of that debris that is located there as well. We are right there on the storm, bringing you live pictures and images of this. We showed you the tornado as it was occurring, and then as it crossed over 51 and as the damage was happening. You can see some other kind of metal there. And so we're gonna lose the lighting here, before too long. We won't be able to see this. So you can see crews are out there doing their best to remove all of this and just kind of assess the situation. I briefly want to come back here because I want to talk about where the storm is now. We've got people probably wondering, okay, what's going on here now? Well, our tornado warned storm, again, north of Weldon now, going to be crossing Highway 54, heading towards the Farmers City area. The Weather Service has not continued the tornado warning here just yet into further into the DeWitt County area there just yet, but we're going to watch that. And then we have the other storm that's kind of coming there west of Decatur. Now it's going to be kind of over towards Niantic and Harristown. That is an area of concern right along I-72, right along I-72 at this moment is where that concern is. It looks like a little update to that warning there. So the warning we had also down into Christian County, no longer in effect. That's good news. We still have the one here into western portions of Macon County, and then obviously the one up here into DeWitt County that has rotation associated with it. And the concern there does come there right along 54 south of Parnell and Farmer City is where we've got that. The National Weather Service has again, let's see here, we're getting some reports of rotation that is on that storm near Niantic. Okay, confirmed. I'm just reading some of this here. So I'm going to come back over because it does look like that they do have some confirmation on this storm here near Niantic. So this is starting to become another higher level of concern because I believe we might actually have another tornado here on the ground with this storm between Niantic and Harristown. That rotation is showing up pretty clearly there. And so the spotter reports coming into us here concerning that storm. This is going to be, again, completely different from the one that was down near Maroa. This is a different storm. But it is one that is still showing the signs of rotation on it as it goes to the north and to the east. So if you're in Harristown, you definitely need to be in your tornado safe spot, lowest level of your home that you can get, center part of your house. Again, I know when you look at this polygon, see this purple colored area? That's a very large area, but I got to tell you right now, as it sits, Decatur, you look to be okay because if you look at it, so here's our storm, and it's kind of shrunk in size a little bit. So if you kind of take this polygon, they could almost even split it in half because I think that the southern part of this, you're okay, obviously in your Booty and Elwyn and whatnot. Still be on the lookout here on the northwest side of Decatur, on the west side of Decatur here, and then definitely near Harristown. And right along 72 is where that rotation is still located. Right there on 72 is where that is. South and west of Harristown, you're looking at it right there, okay? Between Niantic and Harristown, still some definite rotation on this. We're keeping a close eye on that storm and of the damage that did occur near Maroa just a half an hour ago as a tornado did roll across. We saw it live on the air here on WCIA, and now we're seeing some of the damage pictures. Lots of crew that have been out there trying to manage and kind of see what is going on, clear some of the debris from the area here. So there's your storm into western Macon County. Let's come back up here now to Farmer City with our other storm, because now you're going to start to get some of the heavy rainfall there, possibly a little bit of hail, and again, a brief tornadic circulation with these could develop at any moment, and I'm still seeing some signs of that rotation here. So let's come back over to basically you're going to look at the colors in this here, which show us what the winds are doing. And so we're starting to see some of that rotation again. And here it is. It's going to be south of Fullerton, crest over 48. And so we're going to have to monitor that carefully. It's going to be south of the Parnell area and lifting to the north and east. So Farmer City, I know you're technically not in that warning, but just to be on the safe side, I would go ahead and seek shelter there in the Farmer City area. We've got some more video that we would like to share with you, and you can see that here. That is a look. Is that from is that a viewer? Or is that from earlier with Jacob or not? So that viewer video there. Okay, viewer video near Mount Pulaski at around 4:10 p.m. I believe Kelsey shot that. You can see a clear funnel there all the way to the ground, and where we had that tornado, that was again near Mount Pulaski. That was earlier tonight. So we've had confirmations of tornadoes near Maroa, near Mount Pulaski. The latest one that has been near Niantic. And so a lot of people, sending in some of these videos and seeing this. And now we've got damage that crews are out there assessing. Again, as this kind of clip the northwest side of town. But I got to tell you, we're not done here because these storms are still rotating a little bit. If you're in Harristown right now, definitely taking shelter on the west side of Decatur there, right along I-72 as it kind of curves around is something that we're going to want to be watching in this area right here, because this is where some of that rotation is. So this will kind of come up there and maybe eventually down the line, Forsyth, be on the lookout, but definitely there between, as you get kind of in the loop there along Highway 70, or on I-72 there, you're going to want to watch out for that storm there. And again, the two different cells that we're watching, the one in northern portions of Macon, or I should say western portions of Macon County, and now coming into Farmer City. I just want to keep showing you this storm because I know the Weather Service, they've not continued the warning to the north and east here, but it's about to get loud there. I want to show you something else. The lightning with this we've not had a ton of lightning on these storms, which isn't great at nighttime because now we start to lose the daylight, and then all we have to go by is something lighting up the sky. Obviously, that would be lightning, and so there's not a ton of lightning on these. There's a few little strikes that are showing up, but now that storm is right on top of Farmer City. As I look at it, some rotation still located south and west of town there. South and west of town, there's still a little bit of that rotation. We're going to see if the Weather Service continues this warning. Looks like they have not. So that tornado warning that was in effect, no longer in effect for DeWitt County. They did not extend it there. But I can tell you, we're still seeing something in there. There's still something. And I'm going to switch this back over again to the velocity because from what I can tell here, okay, we're looking at some of these colors here, south and west of town, and I think we're going to get another updated scan on this here in just a second. I still think there's something to monitor and just kind of carefully watch here before too long, because this could spin up. I just want to be on the safe side on this here. If you're in Farmer City right now, I know the warning is not in effect, but I just want to kind of watch this area carefully because this is one of those things where we go from, again, you don't have anything, and then that tornado quickly does develop. So we've got that confirmation from earlier. Again, notice how that tornado warning, see that whole purple polygon area? The storm itself is starting to move out of that polygon. So largely, Decatur and Booty, you guys are good. You guys are in the clear, at least with this storm here. But we're watching this now as it gets out of Harristown and going to pass there between Warrensburg and Harristown, and eventually could come down the line here towards Forsyth. So we're going to watch that area there. With that, there was just a report that we have got, we had a tornado with this just about 15 minutes ago. And Adam, you got some information over there with us here? Oh, okay, gotcha.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So we've got several locations here we're still watching. Good news is they've let that storm not continue the warning into DeWitt County, which is good. But all of these are still something to look out for. Here's another one kind of west of Hayworth. They're going to have to keep a close eye on. Just a lot of activity that is out there right now. Let's see. I know Jacob is out there. Let's see if we can't talk to Jacob there again. He's looks like they got some workers there. Jacob, what are they working on there? It looks like they're next to a propane tank or something over there. Some kind of tank.
Yeah, Kevin, we're at that farm that was on top of the hill, and our watching crews here, the Maroa Fire Department is on scene, and they've got their trucks up here. If you look, they're starting to move some equipment, it appears. I think there might be a tank back there. I'll zoom in on that. I'm not sure if they're trying to, it looks like that propane tank got tipped over. I don't think it's leaking though. That's good news here, but they're gonna try and flip that on the right side. To the left here, a stock trailer. These are 20, 30-foot trailers here, flipped upside down. And then behind the backhoe there's actually a vehicle of some sort that has been flipped upside down entirely. You can see here that if you remember that power line that had some debris when we looked not towards the houses but the other direction, there's that there, some other poles that are down. This right here in front of me, this is the foundation of those silos. We saw 2 silos go up, and these are them. They ended up on US 51. US 51 back open for traffic at this point. And then in the background there, I think you can still make it out. There's the shed that took a direct hit, been destroyed by this confirmed tornado that we showed you live. We saw those images earlier of that tornado hitting this farm. This is what it looks like in the aftermath. And thankfully, I did talk to a homeowner just down the road. This is a farm only, no homeowner, no homestead here, just some outbuildings and silos. No one was here at the time, just damage at this particular spot, but you can see them, looks like that's a diesel tank there. They are putting upright from the tornado that flipped it over here in Maroa. Kevin, we're gonna keep an eye on that storm to the south. I think that's gonna stay away from us, if from what I understand. I know you talked about South Decatur perhaps. I just want to check in and make sure that I'm still okay up here in Maroa, or if I need to start heading to the south to catch that storm. Let me know your thoughts. In the meantime, we're just going to stay here. We've been recording this as well, and we'll have this footage available for the newsroom to take advantage of. Kevin, live in Maroa, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks, Jacob, for the images there as they continue to kind of secure things. Obviously, anytime you're dealing with any type of gas and stuff like that in those tanks, obviously going to be extra cautious on some of that there as well. But pretty amazing there. Jacob, you can pan back over. I want folks to, if you pan back over to where that the grain bin was, the foundation of it. I mean, that's it's pretty amazing the shot that you had there of the grain bin where that was located. And again, we showed you that earlier where it landed on Highway 51 is where some of that metal was. But I don't know if Jacob can still hear us or not, but if you can, okay, gotcha. Okay, so again, just amazing, that tornado. It was small in nature, okay? This affected, a farm there, but largely missed Maroa and the town there, but only missed it by about a mile or so as that came across. Jacob, for your sake,